So we are now able to log our users into our app, and when our users log in, it should take them to the feed.html page where we're going to display their feed. What you would see if, say, you logged into Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, you would get an option to view all of the things that are going on within the application. For instance, if you're on Instagram, it's going to view all of your friends, or maybe most of your friends, depending on what the algorithm for Instagram does, all of their pictures, videos, whatever they just memes, whatever they decide to post up, you're going to see all of that if you log into Instagram. We want the same thing to happen to our users when they log into our application. And so to do that, we need to do two things. And both of those we're going to implement in the feed.js page. So everyone make sure you can load up your feed.js page and that you are linking at the very bottom of your feed.html page. If you have both of those things, you are ready to go. If you don't have the feed.html or the feed.js, make sure, and you missed the last class, make sure you create them right now. Just go ahead and touch a feed.html and a feed.js page inside of the right directory. I just said touch connection / feed.html and touch connection / feed.js. Is that cool? So just make sure everybody's caught up. Now once you do that, we need to do two things. We need a way for our app to keep track of the user when they log in. For instance, let me give you an example here. So I'm going to come down to my application and I'm going to click sign in with Google. It says ready to authenticate. It goes through the authentication process. Hopefully. Uh-oh, I have an error. Just kidding, we got a network error. Let me try this again. Huh. Okay, cool. Looks like I'm getting a bunch of errors. I think I might need to log into Zscaler. Hold on a second. Okay, hopefully that works now. We click authenticate with Google. And it's, oh, there we go. It seems like it's working. It signs us in, and it automatically takes us to the feed page. You should see a sign that says you are now on the feed page, and your page should be blank. If you got that, you are caught up. If you do not have that, make sure you implement that or just follow the previous videos and you should be able to get there. Now, the thing we're going to do today is we're going to make sure that once our users are logged in, we keep track of that with our application. And so to do that, in your Firebase console, you're going to click on the Go to Docs. Oh, hold on, wait for it to load up. But there is a button in the top right corner that says Go to Docs. The docs refer to the documentation of Firebase, and again, the documentation is your best friend. It will tell you how to do everything you need to do in Firebase to make sure that your app is working correctly. Now, I actually already have it pulled up. Yeah, the Wi-Fi doesn't seem to be working the way we want it to. But here's what you want to be able to do. Once the user, oh, that's the other one. Let's see if I have the other one here. Manage users. I think this is the right one. Boom, I found it. Cool. I'll paste this link into Slack for you so you have the information. But I'm just going to copy exactly what's in here. Are you ready? So right here, we have, it says get the currently signed in user. It wants you to set up what's known as a listener or observer on the auth object. And to do that, I'm just going to copy this code right here and put it in the feed.js. And so it looks like this. Head in your feed.js and you're going to write firebase.auth.onAuthStateChanged. Let's say, hey, as soon as the authentication state changes, like if someone logs in or if someone logs out, you run this function. And this function takes in a user. If the user is logged in, then we do some stuff here. If the user is not logged in, we do some other stuff right here. And so all I'm going to do first is console.log, user is not logged in. And then up here, console.log, user is logged in. And then I'm going to console.log the user, just so we know. Now this is really all you need to do to get your application up and running to keep track of whether or not the user is logged in. So make sure you copy this down really quickly because this is going to be everything we need. So I'll make this a little bit easier for you to see. It's firebase.auth.onAuthStateChanged. Now make sure you spell this and capitalize this exactly the right way, otherwise it will not work. That will give you some problems. So I'm going to pause right now and let you copy this down. Cool? Now once you've set up this observer, basically what this is doing is it's just constantly waiting. And it's checking to see, hey, is anyone trying to sign in to Firebase or sign out of Firebase? If either of those things happen, this observer runs this function inside it. And so it checks to see if the user is logged in or if the user is not logged in. Now, if we save this and I refresh this, it should say, hey, the user is logged in. Let's find out. Boom. It says user is logged in, and it gives us the user's information. You see that right there? There's all the user's information. Now, what we're going to be looking for is their display name, their email, and their photo URL. Once we have all those things, we can actually make it look like they are signed in when they sign into our app. Because right now, you can't really tell, can you? So what we're going to do is we're going to update as soon as the user is signed in. We're going to find the image on the middle of the page that I put right here. See this image with an ID of avatar? And we're going to set its source equal to the image of the user, the photo URL of the user. Now this is going to be a little bit complicated, but just follow along with me really quickly. You ready? So right here below where we console.log the user, we're going to say const avatar image is equal to document.querySelector. And we're going to select a thing with an ID of avatar. Now all that's doing is it's going to my feed.html page and it's looking for something with an ID of avatar. When it finds it right here, it saves this whole image inside this variable called avatar image. Now what we want to do with that avatar image is we want to change its source attribute. So we say avatar image dot set attribute, the source attribute equal to whatever the user's photo URL is. Now I'm about to tell you what this is right now, but I just want to make sure you have a chance to copy this down first too. So the magic with this is that once we have this user object here, inside the user object, we have all of these random keys, but the one we actually want is user.photoURL. And so we're going to come here and we're going to set the source equal to the user.photoURL. I think they're all capitalized. Let me make sure. Yeah, they're all capitalized. And when we do this, it should go find that avatar image on the page, and it should set its source attribute equal to user.photoURL. Now, my photo URL is huge, and so it's probably going to take up the whole page and not look very good. But let's see how it looks. Are you ready? Save. And then I'm going to refresh this page. Refresh. User's logged in. Boom. And there I am. Check it out. So now the user knows they're logged in is because we have their picture being displayed on the screen. Now that's too big. It doesn't look very good. And if you want an actual avatar image, you want it to look nicer. So to make it look nicer, I'm going to add a little bit to our style.css here. I'm going to go grab at the very bottom. I'm going to say, hey, find that avatar image. I want its width to be 100 pixels, its height to be 100 pixels, and its border radius to be 50%, which is going to make it circular. And you can actually make this smaller. Probably like 70 pixels is enough, or maybe even people like it smaller than that. It doesn't really matter what you do. The idea is that we want to make it much smaller. We want to make it circular so it looks like an actual like avatar logo that you would put on your page, letting the user know, hey, not only do I know who you are, but I know that you are logged into my application. I have this information about you. The only reason I have it is because I know you're logged in. Now, in doing this, we have basically set up our application to keep track of whether or not the user is logged in. Once you keep track of whether or not the user is logged in, you can do anything you want with that user. You can let that user save information to your database. You can let that user post pictures of themselves. You can let that user post pictures to your feed, or whatever it is you want your application to do. So this is the most important part right here, is making sure that when the user signs in, we have a way to keep track of that. Now when I go back to my page and I refresh it again, it's this right here. And it would probably be even nicer if I put it up in the top right corner up here so that the user knows that I'm logged in. So let's put that actually inside the nav bar, because that's going to look a little bit better. So we take, or is it in feed.html? Let's take that image right here, and let's do something like this. Let's surround this with a div, and put the image right here, and put all this stuff inside that div, so that we can tell the nav bar to space things out nicely. So I did two things. I created a new div inside the nav bar, Do you see that? And inside the navbar div, I placed our icons. The material icon for power and the name fakebook or connection or whatever you want to call it. Then, also inside the navbar, I placed the avatar image so that when the user is logged in, you will actually see their ID or you could do display name, email, but I usually just go with the image because once the user sees an image of themselves, they know they're logged in. They don't really need much else after that. Now, you can do a bunch of other stuff like display their email, display their display name, or whatever you want, but I think the image is probably all you need for the time being. So if you save this and you refresh, okay, cool, that actually does not look good. We probably want to style this a little bit more nicely. But you get the picture. Once they're logged in, we display their image here, and they know they're logged in for good.